Okay guys, we are here in the Whitney Library. This is the city council meeting, regular city council meeting. Working with a different tripod here. Turn it, yeah. City is recording. Okay, so, and I'm going to read this. We're still accepting applications for this. Oops, hang on a second. The light shines through the paper and it's a little bit harder to read it. Okay, so we have scholarships open for the Civic Youth Advisory Commission Summit. Whitney Council Member Amy Teal is pleased to announce 3 civics scholarship openings for high school students in the Whitney ISD area. Scholarship recipients will attend the Texas Municipal League's statewide Youth Advisory Commission Summit in Cedar Hill, Texas on Saturday, January 31st. From yacsummit.org. While the summit has a serious mission of educating, inspiring, and empowering, it is also built for fun. This event will push attendees to their maximum potential with skill-building workshops, inspirational speakers, multiple networking opportunities, and more. Scholarships will be awarded to winning essays. The topic for this scholarship is the Texas Open Meetings Act, educating young people about the importance of open government principles. The deadline for scholarship applications is December 31st, 2025, 11:59 p.m. Scholarship applications can be picked up at the Lake Whitney Public Library or found online at tinyurl.com/YACWhitney. Transportation and meals will be provided for Saturday's schedule of events. Applications are open to all high school level students ages 14 to 19 who reside in the Whitney ISD area. Scholarships are generously provided by American Dream Ministries in Whitney, Texas. For more info, call Amy, that's me, at 682-209-7015. And this is the essay prompt. So submit completed essays and parental consent forms to amy.teal4liberty@gmail.com. Summarize the key points of the Texas Open Meetings Act and explain why the act is crucial for a functioning government. Explain who is affected and how. Discuss the importance of the act for democracy and citizen engagement. Describe common violations and their consequences. Include A or B below in your essay. So either identify an event or issue where open government meetings helped advance the cause of justice. Explain how this government transparency made a difference in the public's understanding and how people were held accountable for their actions. Or B, identify a significant breach of open government meetings, penalties incurred, and how the situation was resolved. So you can find more information at the Office of the Attorney General online, the Texas Municipal League, and the actual state statutes. So, so yeah, that's what this is. tinyurl.com/YACWhitney. The city does not have a youth advisory commission yet. I would like to see if we can't get one going. What time is it? 5:50. I keep hitting that, sorry. 5:53. We still have 7 minutes before the meeting starts. Okay, I put the agenda link for the whole packet online. It's also on the city's website under government. We have technically 15 items. 14 basic items and then executive session. So we've got a lot going on tonight. Minutes to approve, departmental reports, public hearing on a voluntary annexation, and talk more about that. And then we're going to look at the library operational and use agreement that we're looking at putting together. The old contract is kind of lame, So we're looking at creating a new one. This library is owned by the Library Foundation, and the city helps pay for the operations of it, but we do not own it. And then we've got, we're going to deliberate and act on decide whether to create a library board. Then we're going to act on a park board applications and appointments, and then act on the creation of a city utilities board. So there's, and then this last one, to act on a request to abandon the alley. All of this is explained further in the actual agenda packet online. Nobody knows anybody here. Come on.
Just because you disagree with what I say. You hate coming to these things, don't you? I figured you just come here in case, in case you got to bail Amy out. I'm talking about bail money. I'm not talking the other kind of bail out. I'm talking about the money that you have to put it to get it out of that cage we call jail. What you look at? Sign up? You want to speak? I heard all about you. Can you? Please indulge. I'm just kidding. I'm ready to go fast.
There won't be.
We'll see how that goes.
I hope he does good. He's doing it right, starting in the trade.
I can't be here too long tonight, but I'm gonna try to stay around for the,
I have a friend up in Argyle, who did the same thing, and now he's on the sixth spot.
I'm gonna try to make it to number 12.
Wherever he's here, he's over there. Started off in the trailers.
Well, that's just deliberate and act on it. During public comment. I mean, I could leave and watch it live on the way home.
Give it to me, right?
This thing might be over by the time I get home.
Give it to me, right?
Just handed it to Janet. Oh, either one. You might know. Yeah, if you don't have one of those, you'll get lost. You're a professional. Professional. I'm on the call.
6 o'clock, we're gonna call this meeting to order.
Katie Teal,
Here.
Nikki Wilson. Here. Valerie Peacock. Here. Cheryl Taylor West. Here. Jason Ince.
Here,
Mayor Janice Sanders is absent, we have a quorum.
is there anybody in the room that will do invitation?
Thank you for bringing us together for sharing of ideas and solutions for our small community. We are all in this together. We all love this home together. Let us also express our appreciation for the upcoming holidays. And let us be mindful that while we celebrate Christmas, there is also Feliz Navidad and Hanukkah and many other holidays that my students from around the world celebrate during this time of year. So let's enjoy all of them together peacefully. Thank you for the people that volunteer their time and efforts to make this community a better place to live. And to all, a happy new year. Amen.
I'm sitting down to protest.
All right, we're gonna move on to, public comments. Okay, anybody that's allowed to speak, any matter other than personal matter, any matter non-specific listed for public hearing, elsewhere on the agenda for matters. Length of time is, do not exceed 4 minutes. No council board discussion or actions may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance with the laws, Texas Government Code, section 551.042. First up, we got David Caston.
We're gonna go into, public comment at 6:02 PM.
Oh, right now?
No, so she just tell me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, David Casper.
Council, Mayor Pro Tem, thanks, sir. I'm here because there's seen me a lot as it relates to community and the status of the project and the impact on the city and the impact on me and everything surrounding. In the last month, I've gotten the kudos to the city for stepping up. We finally got those culverts dug out. We've got them to to do some of the things that they haven't been able to do for months. And we feel it's in conjunction with me going after them head to head and the city stepping up and saying, you know what, this is the way it's gonna be, that we're making headway and things are looking up. So I want to thank you guys that have stepped up, the council, definitely, as well as the city stepping up and making some headway. We're not fully done. We still have some obstacles, but in the meantime, we haven't discussed it a lot, and I want to show my appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Lupe Munoz.
I just wanted to open up with prayer this evening. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and serpent. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, and acknowledge my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy and show him my salvation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jenna Strange.
I'm here tonight to give an update on my situation, but on what many residents are now coming forward to report. After months of unexplained spikes, overbilling, and conflicting explanations, the city has installed a new handle meter with a 9-port attachment at my home. And for the first time since smart meters were introduced in October 2023, our water usage is finally reporting in a way that makes sense. Overnight usage dropped to 0 for the first time since that smart meter was installed in 2023. Normal daily patterns finally look correct as well. In short, it looks like reality again that we have switched back to mechanical meter. But that alone should concern all of you, and that alone should tell you this is happening to others. They should have the same option to opt out of these meters. In addition, the city has provided me with historical data from the first smart meter installed at our home. I reviewed every record carefully, and what stood out the most was there was a low 0 usage on that meter for like 2 years. We didn't have 1 0. Not in the middle of the night, never. That's not normal, and Vicky and I actually spoke today, and I think we've got some plans going, and I wanna just say thank you for putting that meter in, and Billy continuing to open up communication. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, BZ Watchdog.
Ready, Billy? All right, so tonight, we're calling it the good, the bad, and the ugly, because that's how I'm gonna address it tonight. So I'll start with the good. I'm looking right at you, Mr. Attorney. I think you guys are doing a good job now of getting those, open records along the way they should be. That's what we call transparency. So thank you for getting whatever it is you guys are doing out of y'all's rear end and getting those go. I'm sorry I had to put you on blast over 3 counties, but thank you for doing the right thing. Billy, talk to
Can
me.
I interrupt you for 1 second?
Can I get my time back this time? Okay. Also, going back to, Public Works, I had a discussion with, Mr. Brennan, regarding the POs on the, signs. So thankfully that's starting to get resurrected. I am gonna suggest that the city actually pass an ordinance or resolution to either make that a permanent one way or actually designate times, because according to your guys' resolution, you guys never put a time in there. I had a discussion with Mr. Cribble. Technically, those should be a one way, and I completely agree with the way the resolution's written. So I think we agreed on that. So we need to get that handled. Moving on to the bad, we got the Whitney ISD thing going. I know that you guys don't govern the ISD, but a lot of things have been happening to where the police department, and I thought we had good communication with Sam Hathaway, who's not here tonight, to investigate, to actually do an investigation. I don't feel that the investigation got done the way it should have. And at least something got done, but I talked to the mom is not happy, and there's other stories starting to come out of the Whitney ISD, so I'll get to that in a minute. But the ugly, there's a bunch of rumors, there's a video going around where people are trying to discredit me. Guess what? Those people that are trying to do this are believing some fake gossip that somebody made, and I filed a police report on for stalking and harassment. So you guys can go on and believe all that stuff. I've never been accused of it until that video. Never been arrested, never been indicted, never been convicted. So for people to assume that this is legit, you're going ahead and sparking up false allegations of defamation before we even get started. I have a feeling it did come from the mayor. She's not here tonight, whatever reason. I know the Chamber of Commerce
You're at 2:30 right now,
Okay.
counting 10 extra seconds.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave that alone right there, and, you know, I'm gonna go back onto, I think, number 12 on the item here. Just because I'm gonna use it for my open comments, since I might not be here. With regards to Miss Natalie Breding, putting her name in the hat for that position, I think she'd be a horrible candidate. She can't keep a secret, she does nothing but this. So I'm gonna put that out there. I've had personal dealings with her on Facebook, which I've addressed with Mr. Brennan. As far as her getting on that board, I think that would just be a bad idea, because that means that you guys are gonna have all kinds of information and drama leaked out more than what you already have. Now, I thought we were doing good with our last council meeting, where we got some things done and ran smoothly, and that emergency one that we had. And I'd like to continue it being the way it should be. I think we're actually progressing and not regressing. But back to the school, the police stuff, I really think we need to have a full-blown investigation into the Whitney ISD, because I'm hearing rumors of other things among all the schools, and the school board is the one that governs that. But the police department, who is governed by you guys, is gonna be the authority that would investigate it. So I think it needs to be done, with all allegations that need to be investigated. If there's nothing there, then write it off. If there's something there, pursue charges and send it to the DA's office, let them do their due diligence with indictments and charges, and leave it out of your hands, so it's not completely biased. And everybody, thank you, and that's it.
Thank you, sir. Liz Snyder.
Good evening, my name is Liz Schneider, and I am the current president of the Hill County Neighborhood Alliance Club. And really, I'm here tonight just to thank Mayor Sanders, although she's not here tonight, for volunteering to be dunked last Saturday, and those that came out to dunk her and the rest of us. We were able to raise a nice little amount of money for the community and for some community projects. And I also wanted to thank members of the community in the city of Whitney for the support of this project. I know that it was very different having a dunk tank in December, and I can verify, yes, the water was. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope I'm saying this right. Zamora, is that correct? Am I saying it right? Zamora?
Oh, you're not gonna get that
I'm
roll
sorry,
out of
Nick.
it.
No, I can't roll all over.
I have a written submission for city record. Hello, my name is Denise Zamora, founder of Positive Rescue. I'm submitting the statement on behalf of Ms. Leon Stoll, a resident of Dwayne Circle in Whitney, who is currently under the weather and has requested that I speak and submit this statement on her behalf. Ms. Stoll contacted the city of Whitney on December 17th regarding 2 black dogs that have been roaming in her neighborhood. These dogs have been a repeated nuisance and public safety concern. A video documentation has been provided to the city by email. I was also CC'd in that. For clarify the official record, on the official record, these 2 black dogs were not involved in the fatal incident described below. This is a separate and distinct complaint. On Monday, Ms. Stoll experienced a separate dog attack involving a resident-owned husky, which resulted in the death of her dog. This incident occurred within city limits and involved a known owner. Under the Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 822, Dangerous Dog Act, a dog is considered dangerous if it attacks, bites, or causes serious bodily injury or death to another animal without provocation. Municipalities have the authority and responsibility to investigate, combine, and declare a dog dangerous in order to humane and euthanasia when warranted to protect public safety. Ms. Stoll formally requests a clarification for the public record on the following. Was the husky involved in the fatal attack declared a dangerous dog under the Texas law? Was the dog euthanized, and if not, why? What enforcement actions were taken against the owner to ensure public safety and prevent another attack? While roaming dogs and the husky attack are 2 separate incidents, they point to the same underlying issue. The city of Whitney does not currently have significant animal control resources to address aggressive dog incidents. I receive daily calls from residents regarding aggressive dogs roaming within city limits. When reports do not result in clear
At this time, we're gonna have to go into executive session with our, to free up the attorney, consultation with the attorney 551.071, American Dream Industries, et cetera, with City of Whitney case. Did I say all of that?
Yes, sir.
625 CV 00478, pending in the United States District Court.
We're now in executive.
Now we're in executive session at 6:16.
Hey, when you guys change the executive, you gotta vote on it. I know. I'm just letting you know. Hey, Jake, so when you
Yes,
guys
sir.
change your stuff up, you guys gotta.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not here to-
I texted you a couple of times.
All right. Do it the right way.
Sorry.
No poop in it, I don't know about anything else. Well, Diane's shirt, my hands that night, after I'd been out for a couple of hours, they were all blue, my fingers, everything was completely shredded. Oh, I don't know. That little West, whatever his little last name is, man, he would buy balls, like 6 of them at a time, and so last one, it was $3 for 24 balls, and Amy went back into the we had basically shut it down, and he shows up, and so she goes, oh, no, I will go get it for him, and that one out of 24, I think he only got her 6 times, but for me, 3. This little sneaker, but that sneaker, I mean, but between him and the young man Wes, I kept telling him, I said, man,
I know, so
baseball.
which guy, the short little bald guy with the suit? I don't recognize him. He's one of their stars.
My veins and all of the.
You've been talking to Johnny about it. He says me all the time. You ever heard this conversation? Discuss about that in one day.
And then I started.
Do you? She looked at y'all serious. I thought she said she had something else. Give me some stats. I got plenty of people. Like all the death threats I've given out. Freestone County.
The water was not, I went, to training in the river. I looked at the reservoir, they had an indoor pool, I was very excited about it. And when I went, I was not heated, and it was ice. So Saturday was cold, this was ice. Right, Sunday was warm, and it was winter, it was also about.
She's like, that's got to be.
You
You bet. met my mom, you understand, I don't have any fears. She's the one that still fears me.
It's down to Shereen got choice.
Her thoughts.
So Saturday,
And I was like, day before yesterday, she said, she don't have 501 I said,
What's up with that?
I've been wanting to.
I'm up till 2 in the morning, I get up, I'm up till about 2 in the morning. 3, 4 Well, I gotta do a lot of things. From 8 to 5.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. They haven't had a time. So, she got a big round of that. Okay.
She told me, I was checking to see the porch lot.
oh, he was going to make it.
I'll stop by there. Oh, yeah.
This is because it's an outside. But you should look at the agenda and know.
Yeah, no, I was just saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's voted to move it. That's all they gotta do.
I wanna know like that. Something that I've done, a little Harley.
I know.
Yeah, think about what we can do.
The week before, Alright, Gary, I'm out.
Okay, cool.
Who knows how long we're gonna be here, so. We got things to do. People piss off.
Oh, I'm like, that's why I'm like, what? What? I'm like, no way. I want to be like that. Afraid of, you know, that's why. I even took this.
This is what I bought. That's what I bought. What about that? And
George Burns, that, you know, they asked him what was specific. Yeah, her too, maybe they see right now. His answer was longevity, the cigar shop. Never stop. You're not, but you have to learn, I think, the dog is over here that I have to contact. You're at least before the summer of 5 the last couple of this year, last year. Yeah, the American Legion model, that at least looks good, and I want to say we want to get, concrete and over it. There's two spots. Bad shape today when I'm looking at somebody. A lot of the markers, a lot of the military ones, they're sunk. They're almost now barely peeking out on the grass. They're about to go plus like 2 hours. Well, that's what happened to the old city cemetery. That place was covered. And last year, they found only 23 dead. Somewhere in there, lots of memorial.
girlfriend lives here, and I was looking at my son's here, and I kind of want to figure out how it's to see. Are you sure? Yeah, it's right over here on. The city is just very small. Yeah, that's what so I went to city hall. There's not a city hall. There's not a lot. It was in a flood zone.
I think that I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, it's in a flood zone. And then, like, I don't know if they have planning and zoning commission.
That's smart.
session at 6:37.
No action.
No action's been taken. Alright, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. 6 and 7, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion. Should a council member desire to discuss any items, that item will be removed from the council consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I would like.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
You wanna?
Let me just switch my. Sorry about that.
I do want to pull both of these for discussion. On the check register, you've got Hill County Emergency Management, $4,860. And just by way of taking the opportunity to share a little bit with the public, these check registers are online on the city website, in the 81-page public packet. You can see all these different amounts paid. And I know there was some discussion about Hill County Emergency Management. So I just wanted to throw that one out there.
So that's for the, that is for the, active 911 and, radios that they have through the county.
Gotcha.
The radio, so the county went to an 800 system a while back, and we have to pay to be on that 800 system, so that's what that.
That's all I've got for that. If there's no further discussion, I'll move adoption of the expense report.
A second. We're up. I will order that. We're on the minutes.
Expense report and register report for November 2025.
Got a motion by Amy, seconded by Vicki Wilson. Amy?
No.
Vicki? Yes. Cheryl? Yes. Valerie?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
On the minutes for December 4th, it says that Ron Helms with Italy, Texas News provided the council with a copy of an AG opinion on the posting requirements. We adjust that and just say, with a copy of AG opinion KP-0475.
AP hyphen 0 hyphen 475.
0475.
Read that one more time, just to make sure we got it right.
KP hyphen 0 dash 0475.
KP-0475.
Okay.
Is that it?
If there's no further corrections, I'll move adoption of the minutes.
A second.
I have a motion by Amy Till and a second by Vicki Wilson. Amy?
Yes?
Vicki?
Yes.
Valerie?
Yes.
Cheryl? Yes. Jason?
Yes.
All yes, motion passes.
Okay. Now we'll move on to department reports. Department of Emergency Service.
Robert had to go to the ESP1 meeting tonight, so he asked me to read his report. So for November 2025, total call for fire and EMS was 195 calls. EMS report ran 63 calls, 60 of which were inside the city limits, 3 of which were county mutual aid for CareFly. The average response time in the city was 5 minutes and 12 minutes out in the county, and they had 2 public relations events. The fire report, they ran 132 calls, 10 calls were in the city, 14 calls were in the county, 55 first responder calls were in the city, 53 first responder calls were in the county. The fire completed 4 safety surveys and performed 2 certificate of occupancy.
All right, now the police department and code of compliances.
Chief Hathaway's daughter had their Christmas program tonight, so I'm triple certified tonight, paramedic, fire, look at me. So, police department, November 2025 stats, police had total incidents of 281, total arrests 7, traffic stops 113, total citations warning 134, animal control and code enforcement, animal control calls for service was 8, code enforcement calls for service was 1, and code enforcement self-initiated was 0. I'd also like to say that after several emails and phone calls back and forth, Axon has expedited their timeline for our dash cams and body cams. We have all devices on hand. They've already shipped them to us. We have them. We're just waiting for installation, scheduling, and training. Don't know what that looks like yet, but just so you know, the February timeline for any of it has been expedited. We already have the physical devices on hand.
Excellent.
Now, public works. Oh, I'm sorry, any questions?
I did want to address the animal control thing. I know we got an email this afternoon clarifying city process on if anybody encounters an aggressive or stray dog. And I was gonna say, could we throw that out here for the record so everybody is aware?
Sure, and I'm sorry I don't have that email in front of me, but, so please notify the police department if there are animal control concerns. The reason for that is it's trackable for us. It has the ability for us to know that there's an issue, and it helps with staffing, it helps with budgetary concerns, it helps with a lot of things. So the process would be contact PD. PD is going to then make a determination on how that's going to work. We have an animal control trained, Department of State Health Services trained animal control officer, Public Works, that they will then contact if there needs to be other determination made. We're still working out the finite details, but please call PD. That's how this initiation needs to go. That's how this is going to start working, is if we're being notified of a problem.
Start a paper trail.
Paper trails are great.
I guess I need to ask, is there any more questions? All right, we're gonna move on to public works.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. For November, we had 4 water leaks completed. We had 2 sewer repairs at Prairie Lands Groundwater Conservation College to measure our water levels in our wells. I found that the results after those are all good, well, consistent with last year, so great news there. Equipment status, we're all winterized, ready to go. And we had 5 after-hours water calls and 3 after-hours sewer calls.
Thank you. Is there any questions? All right. All right, we're gonna move on to library.
Good evening, everyone. In November of 2025, we had 15 new library cards issued. We served a total of 1,248 persons. A good number of those were using the computers. 72 of them needed direct assistance. One of the things that we've been assisting with quite a lot this past month and going into this month are some driver's license renewals as those rules have changed. And there's a large contingent of our population that doesn't have things like email addresses and the ability to use computers at their home to solve this renewal. So, I'm really glad we're able to help with those. There 276 visitors attending those programs, 294 physical items checked out, still supporting those 16 local authors. We had one outreach visit for 2 hours, one volunteer working 9.5 hours, no staff CE, 3 director CE hours, late fines of $16.05, and then total copy print services and fines collected $327.75.
Any questions? Thank you. Moving on to municipal court.
Municipal court for November 2025 was a total of 30 violations and a total of collections of $3,573.09.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the regular agenda. We're going to conduct a public hearing, holding a discussion and act upon ordinance 02025-12-01, annexing into the corporational city limits of the city of Whitney, approximately 57.565 acres of land legally described as tract 18A, abstract number A2, out of the James Burgess survey, and tract 4, abstract number A-6, out of the Thomas McKee survey, Hill County, Texas, generally located west of the State Highway 22 and west of Farm Market 933, thereby extending the boundaries of the limits, amending the official map, and providing the matters related therefore. Is there, yes, we're opening up public hearing at 6:49, if anybody wants to speak.
Procedural, Ms. Secretary, did we receive any mail-in comments?
No, we did not.
Is this gonna affect the water or any of the infrastructure or equipment?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So, when we did the meter survey not too terribly long ago, this subdivision was accounted in that.
Billy, would you repeat the question?
Sure. So the question is this going to affect the water or any of the infrastructure inside city limits? This subdivision, was accounted for in that meter survey and in that water survey, so they do not see any detriment. Also, note that in my negotiations with the developer, we talked about, we obviously know we have wastewater, they're going to be doing on-site sewer facilities instead of hooking into the sewer system. So, as far as infrastructure goes as well, note that all roads in this subdivision are HOA and private roads. The city has no maintenance responsibilities of these roads.
They're gonna have their own sewer treatment center there?
So the question is, will they have their own sewer treatment? No, they'll have septic.
Septic.
On-site sewer facility. OSS.
We're gonna close the public hearing, time is 6:51. Moving to the regular agenda.
Mayor and council, we do need to, of course, there's any discussion by council, but then also we need to vote on the ordinance annexing this property. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we annex, the city of Whitney annexes and within the corporate limits, approximately 57.565 acres of land legally described as tract 18A, abstract number A2, out of the James Burgess survey, and tract 4, abstract number A6, out of the Thomas McKee survey, Hill County, Texas, generally located west of State Highway 22 and west of FM 933, thereby extending the boundary limits, amending our official map, and providing for matters related thereto.
Second.
Yeah, second. Yes.
We got 4 yeses, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
Okay, now we're gonna move to the regular agenda item 9. Receive a report, hold a discussion, conduct a public hearing, and make a recommendation establishing a zoning designation of SF-1, single-family residential District 1 for the hereinafter described property being approximately 57.565 acres of land legally described as tract 18A, abstract number A2, out of the James Burgess survey, and tract 4, abstract number A-6, out of the Thomas McKee survey, Hill County, Texas, generally located west of State Highway 22 and west of Farm Market Road 933.
Do we need to open up the public hearing, or would you do the report first? Okay, so, Citizens Council, Mayor Pro Tem, so if you recall, back in April, we negotiated the development agreement, with the developer, which was filed at the county, all of the things that we're supposed to do, and in that agreement, one part of the negotiations was to initially zone this subdivision as SF1. So it's going to be just single-family residence homes, they're large acre tracts. I mean, we kind of talked about this ad nauseum, but if there are any questions from the council or anything, we will have a public hearing. Is this not working now? About it.
My only comment was that I remember asking him to please save the trees. So I'm gonna make that for the record. I hope he doesn't cut down all the trees.
And just for the public, this is the area that's back behind the Allsup's, right?
This property will extend from the back of Tres Hermanos, that you can already see kind of construction happening there with the road, and it goes all the way behind, Allsup's behind SNA, and ultimately terminates at the next county road.
And it's being referred to casually as the East Lake?
East Lake.
East Lake, yeah.
Little lake?
We're gonna open up the public hearing at 6:55 on the agenda item number 9. If anybody wants to speak. Procedural, Madam Secretary, do we receive any mail-in comments about this public hearing?
No, we did not.
We're coming out of public hearing at 6:55.
I make a motion that we, establish a zoning designation SF1 for the aforementioned single-family residential District 1 for the hereinafter described property being approximately 57.5 acres of land legally described as tract 18A, abstract number A2 out of James Burgess survey, and tract 4, abstract A6 out of the Thomas McKee survey, Hill County, Texas, generally located west on State Highway 22 and west of Farm Market 933.
I'll second.
Well, and just to clarify, and we probably should have said this in our report, so right now, the council is acting as a planning and zoning commission, so what you're doing is, making a recommendation, so I'm gonna take your motion as a recommendation, and this will come back before the council, by state law, over 30 days from now, the council will then vote, so if it's all right with you all, we'll make your motion with the recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Amy Teal,
Abstain.
Vicki Wilson,
Yes.
Valerie Peacock,
Yes.
Cheryl Keller West,
Yes.
Jason Hicks.
Yes.
4 yeses, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 10. Deliberate, act, and give guidance on the library operational and use agreement between the city of Whitney and the Lake Whitney Public Library Foundation Incorporated.
council, I would at this time ask Christy Rogers to step forward to present this agenda item to you.
So, just a little bit of a background, you all may remember we have been talking about, the need for these two agenda items to update the operational and use agreement between the foundation and the city of Whitney. So that is what you see in your packet. There were several, let me give you a little background here. The city and the foundation have maintained a relationship in the operation of a public library in this town since 1988. In 2009, the Triplett family donated the land on which we're sitting tonight for the construction of a new library, this one, with the understanding that the city would provide operational support. The most recent formal agreement between the city and the foundation was in 2014. To clarify roles and responsibilities, both organizations began updating the agreement. A joint discussion happened in July of 2025. We confirmed the intention, again, with both entities at the table at that time to revise this document. An initial draft based on those existing agreements and current practices was prepared and reviewed by both parties. Following several revisions, the updated draft is what is included in your packet tonight and submitted for review and input.
Council, if I may, really quickly, we are really looking for guidance tonight more than we're looking to vote on it. If it's good as written, we're good. And the foundation's here, I believe. Is that correct? We have representatives here if there's questions. But again, we're looking for guidance here more than we are looking for an affirmative vote.
I will recommend that we stick with guidance tonight. And this is this is from the foundation, right?
So, Councilperson Teal, what you're showing there is the ledger for the 2024-2025 year, the ledger from the foundation. Yeah.
Which takes off number 5 from the current thing.
Oh, I might add a couple of other updates as well. You'll remember there's another signage topic that hadn't been completed.
Right.
And so when you came in that door, you saw that that door is now labeled a triplet meeting room. That was not required signage. There's required signage in this agreement for the Francis Triplet Memorial Garden. That signage has been placed on the back door that goes out to that area. So the reason it was placed there was because more people will see it. Otherwise, it's on the fences on the side. So we placed it there, and then the most exciting thing is the stone monument that's required in the contract was supposed to be installed out in this week. I was hoping it would be here before tonight, but with the cold weather, they couldn't build that stone, so it's supposed to be installed on Monday in the very front of this building, and it should match the Austin stone.
Dr. Alan Sachs of UGA was a huge donor in Fort Worth and Arlington. Many, many signs were placed throughout the Metroplex in his behalf for his many donations. I believe in honoring people that did make these kind of contributions. Thank you.
I think this is great, because we were looking through the other, the older deeds and everything else, and if these things were not met, the property reverts back to the triplets. So this is, it seems kind of nitpicky, but when you're talking about dealing with a lot of your money, this is where we want to make sure that everything that proceeds in the future is kosher and taken care of and airtight. I did want to ask on page 4, under 10.01, that's okay.
Ooh, that's push-ups.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding.
It wants you back.
I know.
under city responsibilities, it says the city shall do the following. It says, offer library services free of charge to residents of the city and surrounding areas. As much as I really like a lot of our neighbors around us, one of the things that I have asked about is the count in the library of city resident usage versus outside city limits. The only reason that matters is because all of the funding that we're voting on is coming directly from inside the city. It's our job to focus on how city dollars are spent. And as much as I think we all would love to be able to provide a huge area library, I don't know that we can really sustain that level of spending. So I would, before we moved on something like this, I would love to see a little bit more breakdown of how many city residents are using the library versus outside the city, and as well as our budget, because right now the budget is 155, and
Around in that range, I don't have it in
yeah,
front of me.
yeah, and just FYI, if you look at the budget, did they fix the budget on the website?
Not yet. No,
Not yet. So if you look at the budget that's on the website, it doesn't show the salaries in the total, but she's getting paid. She is getting paid. But we do have $155,000 of city resident dollars, and it's not just city residents, it's businesses and sales tax as well. So, if we could do a little bit more defining on, it's like surrounding areas, that's countywide right now, is it?
So the service area for this library is, we provide cards, and anyone can come in and use a public library, as you know.
Right.
But cards are issued to people who have IDs and an address within Hill and Boston County.
Hill and Boston.
Correct. To answer that question. Anecdotally, I would like to know something similar to what the park board conversation was a couple of weeks ago. A large number of the funds to build this building came from outside of the city. And I think it's important to call that out. A large bit of the support, volunteers, staffers, also comes from outside of the city. So I totally understand the question, I just want to call that out.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with this, is we have to rely on people outside the city in order to keep it going. Because I would love to just increase the library's budget, but we've still got to do the wastewater treatment plant and roads and keep everybody else paid. So I would love to see a little bit more number crunching on that. And just by way of looking at the next agenda item of the library board, the requirement, I know it says 7 members and it says, or 7 members, and it says in the city. So the library board ordinance says in the city, and we're looking at city and surrounding areas on this one, so we would want to bring those in alignment. And on the next one, for the board, page 3, 1.06.0079D wants to give the library board the authorization to charge a fee to non-residents. So I don't know if that's something that would want to be looked at.
So I need to ask a question before I answer that question. And so the question that I want to ask is do we talk about that now, or do we talk about that in the next? I just want to make sure I'm doing things right.
Yeah, no, it's 2 different agenda items. Yeah, I mean, well, I just want to answer one question really quick on that, which is, and I guess, Mayor, we need to ask you, do you want us to stick to the agreement, or are you okay to talk about the ordinance? As long as we're clear.
We're going to be talking about both of them, so.
Okay. So on the ordinance, Councilperson Teal, on page 2, there's 2 versions of the ordinance. On page 2, It does have the library board being composed of 7 members, 4 of whom shall reside in the city. So 3 members could be non-residents.
Right. I think we should limit that to 7669 though.
I would like to make a comment real quick, if I may, and that is that as soon as I joined the Whitney Public Library, the very next thing I joined was the Hillsborough Public Library. I do not live or own property or a business in Hillsborough, only Whitney. But I am treated just as equally each time I walk into the library. I've never paid a penny for anything I've ever checked out of that library, except that I've also joined the Friends of the Library as well.
Oh yeah, I love the Hillsborough Library. I was there today getting election form notarized for free. So if you need a free notary service, the Hillsborough Library is a great place to go. But Hillsborough has a much larger economic base than Whitney does. So I appreciate the Hillsborough Library a lot, but my job here is being a steward of city taxpayer dollars. So
for the 2 ordinances, which I think we'll get into more detail, I'd like to reserve my thoughts on those 2 ordinances for what they're worth until we get to that. Okay. I will tell you, being in this building every day, the support from inside the actual city and zip code is great, but so is all of the support from outside. And the library board, if it's, that ordinance is adopted, that includes that, calls for the support of both. And personally, I think you can't get enough love. And you're getting some love from outside of the area.
Can I ask a random question? How many people here right now would not be able to use the Whitney Library because you don't live in the city limits? Half, at least. Half. Thank you.
if you're gonna segregate it just to the city, you can't call it separate.
I don't think that's what we're saying.
But what we're talking about is what's listed in the library board ordinance that mentions charging a non-resident fee, so that it's not just city residents bearing the entire cost of over half the usage being outside the city.
To be fair, I didn't answer your question, thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that back around. That is common library practice, that non-residents can charge the fee, and that is being set in the fee schedule. So it's common in libraries. I'm not sure if that's something that's designated.
So that's mostly what I would like to see number crunching moving on, is if there's a way that we can set this up so that we're still moving forward with a better updated contract, still have opportunities for for folks who are not in the city limits, but so that our residents are not bearing the entire fiscal cost of this.
Can I let ask a question? So what you're saying is like I have to come up here.
Yeah.
And we're still focusing on the agreement in this
The agreement,
conversation, right? Not the
yes.
ordinance? Okay. Just
Yes.
clarifying.
Because the agreement says that everybody will be free of charge.
Question, because you keep saying that the money is coming from just the city residents?
I'm
So-
sorry. Please state your name.
Oh, Charlotte Salazar.
All right, thank you.
But you're saying that the taxes are being used from property owner or
Well, that's-
sales tax? Because like when we
both.
come to the city, we spend sales tax. and so-
Absolutely, and that was gonna be part of the number crunching, because not only do we have, your basic residents, we have property owners, and we have, who are submitting a significant amount of property tax to the city, as well as sales tax. And so, right now, if you were to go just by sales tax, if I would crunch the numbers correctly, this is almost 20% of our sales tax budget right now. If we were to go just on sales tax.
So is that something that the council's comfortable with, basically committing 20% of our sales tax every year to the library, or do we need to lower that number a little bit? And if we do,
Homeowners?
no, of just the sales tax. And this is what I was thinking, because we could go through CAD and try to separate residents versus property owners, but this kind of thing, sales tax is generally gonna be your better barometer of how much money can we spend on something that is serving a wider aspect of people. So, and if we do that, again, that's about 20% of sales tax. And this is where I was just going to ask council, we've got a lot of other things that we have to pay for that everybody outside the city doesn't necessarily. I gotta know how many of you guys have City of Whitney water. City of Whitney water. But we got a wastewater treatment plant. We have to pay for somehow.
Oh, yeah.
So how we figure out a budget moving forward and still be able to give our local residents property and, both residential and commercial, some tax breaks without jacking their taxes way, way high. I'd like to see more crunching on this.
Right, no, I understand, and just one more thing, doesn't bother me either way what you do. I come here a lot, but I don't help it, I can go to Hillsborough, but I do have cards, like I have gotten cards, I have a First Organic card, there's Texas Share Program, Italy, Hillsborough. I don't have one here, I do come here often, but I've like been Fort Worth, I mean, like I've been, we went to school, we go everywhere, I have a lot of library cards, I've never been charged.
Right.
And so I just wanted to throw that out there because she said it was pretty common. I've never run into it personally.
Yeah.
Don't care what you do. Like, I have plenty of libraries to get our books from, but
Yeah.
just wanted to know.
And, ideally, if the city decided that they needed to reduce that budget somehow, then instead of charging non-residents, that could be something that the foundation picked up. So there's lots of different ways to handle it. We just need a tax base to support a lot of stuff.
And before we get started again, I just want to remind everybody that the time for public comment is the public comment section, and so I think we've been a little bit loosey-goosey about questions from the audience and back and forth, but I just remind y'all that's what the rules say.
Councilmember Till, just a point of clarification.
Yes.
I'm looking at, you would prefer a count in the library of city versus county. That's an action item, correct?
Yes.
You would like to define a service area. Did I get that correct?
Well, the city, I think so. Right now, we know it's Hill and
Hill and
Boston.
Okay.
But if we're going to have a library board, and we're gonna limit it to 76692, I guess a few more definitions might be good.
Okay, and then tell me the other action item. We kind of went astray, so I'm sorry. I was trying my best to write it down.
I had mentioned sales tax.
So you would like to see what percentage of sales tax to fund the library versus in the entire budget?
Yeah, I was originally gonna say, how much is it costing a resident who lives in the city to use the library, whether they use it or not? But then, looking at the different property taxes and CAD and everything else, I was like, sales tax is probably better. But, the cost, per capita costs of everything that we do, I mean, everything's coming from somewhere, and
Well, one of the good things is you're starting to see the growth that we've been working so hard for the past 2 years finally coming to fruition. You're gonna start seeing sales tax dollars increase because we're getting the O'Reillys, we're getting a lot of these things that we've been working so hard to get come in. Finally, the economy's at a position where they can come in and build. So sales tax is going to obviously increase, thank God. And hopefully that gives that relief for property tax, as you spoke about. What the council, again, as you alluded to, will have to determine is, right now, I believe, just off the top of my head, I believe we budgeted or expected income for sales tax this year to be $1 million. Again, I'm pulling that out of thin air, but I think that's what we budgeted. So if you start going kind of down that direction, you'll have to determine how much each piece of that pie gets allocated per department. And I think that's what you were trying to say. I'm just trying to
Right.
say it a different way. And so what you would like to see in number crunching is based off that number, how much of that could go to fund this, and then what's that gap potentially that needs to be backfilled? Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I'm.
I mean, there's a lot of places we can go with this. I would like to see just more discussion though.
Sure, okay.
One quick point of clarification, the charging non-residents is a common ability, not necessarily a common activity. Just wanted to clarify that. What other questions about the agreement or the history behind this draft?
I think that's probably enough right now.
If I might make a recommendation,
Yes.
if the council so desires, obviously we're in discussion mode right now. If you would send Christy and I your email points, what you would like investigated further, we can have a better discussion next time to take action, if it gets worked out. But, because I think we have great ideas and we're kind of thinking and workshopping it, but I think if you articulate it to us, we'll have a better, clearer direction of where to take it.
And since I'm from the Metroplex and so many cities overlap in that entire standard metropolitan area, I'm gonna call a few cities, if you don't mind, and inquire with their library, it's exactly what they do.
Ask about their tax base too.
So for clarification for me, I believe what I heard you say as a group was, the draft as it's written doesn't really have a lot of pieces that you would want to workshop. Right, I heard a positive tone on the draft, okay. The questions around funding the library going forward, which are the questions that have always been asked, and rightfully so. So, one of the things for this, several of the things for this funding year was we have made adjustments around what the city is paying for. And the foundation has, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but has been very open to the programming pieces. As you all know, there is no programming in the budget for this year for the library at all, not a cent, not a penny. And that was one of the things that we did for this year. Also a reduction in the budget going into this fiscal year, the one that we're in now, the reduction in the book budget. So there are also things from a funding perspective that are happening now that haven't been happening over the past recent years, I will say. COVID, and I know everyone's so tired of hearing that word, but COVID really slowed down some of that activity. So just in this year, this actual last couple of months, we have already received a number of grants over $11,000, and I have at least one more grant out right now. And there are no grants or funds or anything like that that pays the operational cost of a library. So where you can limit some of that is in the programming, in the books, and those types of things. And we're working very hard toward that already. So,
One more. You can only trim so much, and you've done a good job trimming as much as you can. And I want to remind everybody sitting in this room right now, this place is a jewel in our downtown area. We're sitting here with lights, and if you ask me, it's way too hot in this room.
Word.
But this library is in use 7 days a week, even though you're only open 4 days a week, technically, I believe. It is in use morning, noon, and night, and it is a great place for people to accumulate, and every community must have that.
I agree. I just want to make sure that when the toilets flush, the wastewater treatment plant actually works.
we're gonna have to fix that road out there too. So, yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to agenda item number 11. Deliberate and act on ordinance 02025-12-02A, ordinance 02025-12-02B, amending Article 06, Library, Chapter 1, General Provisions, to address the library board collections material, library cards, fees, and providing a penalty not to exceed $500.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I would like, again, to defer this to Christie, but I would like to say that I believe, and I'm not mistaken, that the original ordinance that we were looking at amending was like a 90s model. So, a lot of this has been updated to reflect modern library ordinances. You have options in front of you, one of which does have a library board and the other does not. The reason that you have an ordinance in front of you that does not have a library advisory board is because a library of this size, and Christie's the subject matter expert, so when I get out of turn, she'll correct me, does not require one. So that's just an option, right? Is we're putting options for you to consider. And I'll defer to Christie.
That's correct, in my understanding. We are not, our size, we're not required, but any council can enact a library for supporting those decisions. So, this ordinance that is in place today is 1994 and had quite a bit of information and requirements in it. I'm trying to be really careful with my words and use them, not accidentally use a legal word that I don't know. So it had quite a bit of information and requirements within it. I personally looked at some of the ordinances for smaller cities. I looked at Clifton. They have a very simple ordinance, and I recommended something very simple, having listened to many of you about less government over things is quite often easier for the community in the town and the government itself. So I used that as a model. I had a couple of conversations. Obviously, I do not draft these because I'm not a legal mind by any stretch of the imagination. But I did ask for the two pieces, the one with the library advisory board, because I know that's a request and it's in the current ordinance, and the one without, so that you could make your decision and not require something that you didn't want to.
I would like to have an advisory board. It's advisory only, and we already have a lot of interest in the library. And if we're going to continue spending $150,000 of people's money every year, it'd be good to have a few more eyes and brains involved in how it's all set up.
You know, to Councilmember Teal's point, just for clarity, is it's the advisory board is exactly how that sounds, just like the park board is an advisory board to the council. They hold no decision-making authority. It is up to the council. So just people sometimes get their mind warped whenever they hear that word board, is they kind of think they have more authority than they really truly do. They're an advisory board. It's still up to the council to make the ultimate decisions.
When I'm making my phone calls and doing my research over the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna include that question regarding library boards, who has them and what are their commitments. And I'm also gonna say this, as a former educator, I have a real problem with charging people money, children and elderly people, families, money to have access to books and videos and other educational materials. I'm gonna have a real problem with that still.
We already do that via their property taxes, and we evict them from their home if they don't pay us. I would love to see your product
Since I've been on
carried to its
council,
ultimate
I've not
conclusion.
evicted anybody.
Guys, we're out of order now.
We're not.
Let's get back to the matter. y'all need to act on it. Does anybody want to act on this tonight, or y'all want
I say we table it.
to do two?
So, just, again, Council, forgive me, I wanna ask, just for clarity, so we're going to table the ordinance until the agreement, I would like just some feedback on how, what you see as the council's procedure going forward with this, just, it helps me organize these agendas and keep things that you want on the agenda in order.
Either one is fine, either way.
Am I able to ask a question about this? So, I guess I don't understand, the reason to table this, only because there's an ordinance on the books that's from 1994, and I think ordinances matter, right? So we're saying we want to continue with an outdated ordinance. I'm just asking so I can understand.
I think a lot of it is more the appetite of the council. I would be okay passing an ordinance to set up a library board tonight, which would help us put the word out, let people respond, and then by the time we come back next time, it would be about appointing people to a library board. And that way, those people could also be involved in all the brain work of working through a new agreement. Because right now, the new agreement, or we're still under, we still have an agreement with the foundation, right? And there's not really a rush to sign a new agreement yet.
I can only say, I completely agree. I can only say, doing the work every day and being responsible for fulfilling these requirements, it's difficult. And I must say, I think you all know, I was the one who brought this up. I said, hey, it's kind of hard for me to do the work which is going on. These things don't match. It's concerning to me. That's a very selfish reason to say, you know, can we do something today? And I understand it's not my business. I don't live in this town, but I'm telling you, as an employee and as a steward of caring for the citizens, and I've heard all you guys certainly focus on the importance of ordinances. It's a little discouraging to me that we might not have that cleaned up tonight, because I think they're separate, but maybe I don't understand, so that's just that. And then, I would like to know what the next steps are for workshopping and agreement that gets us somewhere, because this has been going on for a number of months, and I would just like to see it settled.
So, council, if I may, I'm trying to get some clarity for Christie and everybody involved here. What about the current ordinances may be the hangup of not a vote, so maybe she has a better understanding of what's going on there? What's, again, the appetite of the council, as was described, but maybe some clarity for her as to what in these two ordinances aren't actionable.
I would move to adopt this ordinance number 020, or 02, it's O, isn't it? O 2025-12-02A, set up the library board and move forward with announcing applications open. So, I move.
I've got a, the ordinance we passed, has been commented to the board. Is that your question?
So Billy, could you explain to the rest of the council that if we pass this tonight, the city would
So,
open applications and then come back next?
for the record, we have a motion and a second, now we're in for discussion. So, what the question is if we pass the ordinance for a I almost said park board, a library board, if we pass the ordinance that has a library board, what the procedure would be for filling those, it would be exactly what we did with the park board ordinances. We would open it up, ask for applicants, who's interested. We already know that the ordinance articulates 4 inside, 3 outside. And so we would do the same exact process that we have. We would advertise, put it on the Facebook page, all that stuff.
I believe I already offered to do a little bit further research on what library boards do in other communities, perhaps find some that are closer to our size. So I'm not going to vote for passing it today.
Okay, so we have a motion by Amy Teal and a second by Vicki Wilson for ordinance O2025-12-02A. Amy?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes.
Valerie?
Abstain.
Cheryl?
No.
Jason?
Yes.
I've got 3 yeses, 1 abstain, 1 no. Motion passes.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 12, deliberate and act on park board applications and appointments.
So, so this has been a process. We took applicants, then we decided to change the ordinance. This is just kind of a back brief. Then to open it up to people outside of city limits. We did receive, I believe, 1 or 2 applicants that were outside city limits. All the applicants that are inside your packets, contact was made with them to make sure they were still interested, to which everyone that's in your packet said yes. I believe we only had 1 that withdrew. So, again, I gave you kind of a cheat sheet on appointments to this board because there are odd and even years and there are seats. So I would encourage the council, when you make your appointments, to articulate what seat that is for and if it's going to be an odd or even year. Again, I kind of gave you a cheat sheet on just procedural of how it should work. One question I did have for council is, Counselor, if the ordinance calls out that the appointments are to be made in October, and we make the appointments in December, do the differentiating years change, or do they just take effect now?
So, I'm not sure I understand your question, but we would be doing, reappointments in October. So the initial board would all have less than their terms.
And that's, I'm sorry, this is Morgan, that's how your cheat sheet is laid out, I'm glad we clarified that. So your initial appointments will have to be reappointed in October. So that, just take that into consideration. That's also for the park board applicants to understand is the reappointment will have to happen in October per ordinance. So what you're doing now is filling the term from December to October, and then you'll make reappointments in October.
2-year terms, right?
Alternating 2-year terms. And also, if you look on the cheat sheet that I made, it kind of shows you the seat numbers, odd and even, 1, 3, and 5, and 4, or 2 and 4. I believe it has seat 5, which is laid out for the WWFL, because they have, per ordinance, a representative to be on the board, and that president of WWFL is in your applications.
Where are those numbers indicated? I'm sorry, I'm overlooking that.
Is it on the cheat sheet that I gave you?
It's in the.
It's the paper clip.
Packet.
It was on this. They gave us a paper,
Under
this budget.
Look to your right, Cheryl. Cheryl.
Okay.
And so on the motion language, I move to appoint X to this term expiring October 31st. What would the year be for that?
So it would be October 2026.
2026, and that's for both of us?
Correct. So for all 5 seats will expire in October 2026, and they'll all have to be reappointed, because essentially, it's kind of like what happened with, if a council member moved out, right?
So actually, to get it, to get it going correctly, you would appoint, 3 or 2, depending on what you want, to a 1-year term, and the other person, the other people, the 2-year terms. You get into the, it says 3 members shall be appointed with even numbered years. And we're now, so 2 of the members would be appointed just for a 1-year term.
I just wanted to fill in the blanks here in the motion language.
Yeah.
For 2026, 2027?
Yes, yes. So 2 members, I'm just making up names, I don't even know who, John Smith and Peggy Smith are appointed until, September 30th, 2026, and then one of the other 3 names are for a 2-year term, 2026.
So in our packet, it's my understanding that Kevin Threadgill is basically the so I move to appoint Kevin Threadgill to Park Advisory Board, seat number 1. Where'd it go? Why is it on here? Is that 1? No. An odd number year for 2027.
That would be number 5.
Let's go 5. Okay, Kevin Threadgill, seat number 5. I move to appoint Kevin Threadgill to Park Advisory Board, seat number 5, for a 2-year term expiring October 31st, 2027.
I'll second.
I believe it's Cheryl.
That's the easy one.
Oh, that's even number.
Okay, so I have a motion by
2026. Amend that motion to 2026, it is number 5. We can read.
Yeah, so.
Need a snack.
So do we go by applicant in order to discern who the remainder, or what is the best procedure to follow to make these next few decisions? That was easy.
I think that the discussion should be had amongst the council, per applicant, or if you already have someone in your mind that you think would be good, that maybe you recommend to the council why you think that person is good. And I mean, this is for you guys to kind of to work this out. We had a really good feedback on this, so I think the discussion needs to be had amongst yourselves on the applicants.
So basically, if we set Kevin's aside, we each basically pick.
Council may I just really, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Yes, a motion and a second on the floor. We need to call for a vote to affirm that seat.
So, Amy,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Valerie,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
all yes. Kevin Threadgill is appointed to seat number 5.
So we need to discuss some of these
So,
amongst each other. I have one I want to discuss, is, Rigoberto Ferris, I think I'm saying that right. I think he also go by, Robert. I know of the gentleman, I know his background.
Is he here tonight?
I don't know that. No. My deal is, and the reason why I'm talking about him is, I might be wrong, but I don't think he's got any ties with anybody. I think he'd be very fair. He's done a lot of work for the
Corps.
Yep, the Corps. He's traveled all over. I think he's a level-headed man that would do good for our community. That's about all I can say. I don't think he's tied with anybody or anything. I mean, he's just out there.
Volunteering on
That's
his own.
exactly right.
Council, and to Mayor Pro Tem Ence's point, I just want to stress the importance of having that Corps of Engineers knowledge. That was one of the things that stuck out to me based off the fact that our park is Corps of Engineer property.
I was gonna read into the record on his application, BS in Industrial Technology and an AAS in Drafting and Design, 33 years construction experience with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and I am a Texas vet that served honorably with the U.S. Army.
core. And with our park being a core property, you need a guy like that in your back pocket. I make a motion to put, Robert Ferris.
I will second it.
In what position was he?
Well, them down the floor, I put him as long as I could. Which one is that?
Number one.
Number one?
Well, no.
No?
Number one is even numbered here.
So I need, yeah, let's put.
If you go
number-
backwards, from 5 to
Number
4, 4 is an odd number year.
Number
Let's see,
four. Put him in number 4.
And, council, if you would just, we have a motion, I just wanna make sure that the motions are consistent, and what the, expiration date of that seat will be.
So if you put it at 4, that's odd number of years, that's 2,
2027.
There you go.
but we did 3 of those,
Yeah.
that's right.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
So I've got a motion by Jason, yes, and a second by Cheryl Taylor West. Amy,
Yes?
Vicky,
Yes.
Valerie,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
all yeses, motion passes. Rigoberto Ferris is gonna fill slot number 4 with an expiration date of 2027.
Okay, guys, I would like to go ahead and just pull this out right now and throw it up here. Ken Scales has applied for the Parks Board. And there's a lot of very strong opinions about Ken, but I'm going to read into the record what he has written on his application. I have served on the hospital board for the Shriners Children's Hospitals, where we operate 22 charge-free hospitals for children. I have served on the Parks Board for the City of Italy. I was president of the EDC of Italy, Texas. I served as a city council member for the City of Red Bank. I served as a board member and treasurer of the Lake Whitney Chamber of Commerce. I served as a VP of Associated Distributors, Inc., where we were an international company. My first business was a land development and home building company. I served as an executive VP for Reynolds and Reynolds Consulting Group. I have a vast knowledge of management and construction. Whatever we might think of Ken, they have worked on 10 different buildings downtown. And we do have Corps of Engineer property, but we have also chosen to retain a building downtown that's going to require a lot of work if the advisory board suggests we keep it and move forward. In fact, that building is going to be one of the first things that money has got to be funneled to, because we're dealing with code issues, including structural problems. And the city may have immunity if we're just dealing with a lot of code stuff, but if that building falls and injures somebody, we have problems. So I'm going to ask that the next person we put on this board be somebody who understands the downtown building construction industry very, very clearly. They have done 10 different buildings. That's current knowledge right in the area that we need to deal with this building.
Councilmember Till, may I just ask, and I know Mr. Scales isn't here tonight, so if I may ask Ms. Wyatt, because I believe you own American Dream Industries. We as a city received a email from Mr. Scales wanting to put a bid in on behalf of American Dream Industries to fix that building. I just was kind of curious if that was going to be rescinded or how that would play out if Mr. Scales is on the board.
Diane, this was back in September 22nd. This brought my attention that the city has decided to remodel the Mustard Seed into a community center. American Dream Industries and Whitney Business Alliance would like to place a bid for the job. As you know, we are a local company with strong ties to the city, especially the downtown section. This could be a conflict of interest for Ken, so that's where you're coming in.
Well, I can only tell you that Ken is, contrary to what everybody says about him, that he is a very city not on it. I will tell you that Ken and the buildings that he has remodeled for American Dream Industry are at code, but most of them are above code. He is very detailed, he has extreme knowledge on things that that building has, and we know that it's really deteriorated badly. I would recommend him for any job.
I think the problem is, and the question that has arisen based off this email is there a conflict of interest? I mean, obviously, we have the ability to abstain from votes, but, and I'm sorry Mr. Skills isn't here to be able to speak to that, but I think that's where maybe some clarity to the council would be.
Is this the kind of thing, I guess, for the council, attorney council, that if Tim was appointed, he would have to sign a conflict of interest disclosure?
Yes. He couldn't discuss, he couldn't participate in a vote, he couldn't encourage the city using the company. That would be in his self-interest if he couldn't do it.
Right.
I'm noting that all these activities he did.
Now, excuse me. He would rescind it, he would not want to be on the board and fix it. So he would rescind not wanting to repair the building. I understand.
But he would still want to serve on the board?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the activities mentioned here are in another city outside of Whitney, except for the Chamber of Commerce that he was formerly involved in, is that correct?
Yes.
All of his work that he's done has been for other cities outside of Whitney, with the exception of formerly being involved with the City of Commerce here in Whitney.
Except for the 10 properties that they have worked on.
Other than the 10 properties, he's had a business in,
He's asking what's in the city.
Yeah, these
10
other
buildings
cities.
in the city. What is the question, please?
According to this application, he doesn't mention anything about, I don't believe, any of the buildings that he's done here in the city, other than he was involved with the Lake Whitney Chamber of Commerce. Everything else that I'm seeing on this application is done outside of the city.
Right, everything on this
10
board.
buildings downtown.
I didn't see that here on the.
Yeah, that's not on the application. I think she was talking about how all of the service information that he's put on here has been mostly in Italy and Red Bank and outside Whitney proper. But
Also a member of the, we didn't put this on the thing, but he is also a member of the Masonic Lodge here.
So Mason.
And they do a lot of volunteer work.
and this was not on his application, but Diane, this is what I've received. It said, just FYI, when you guys arrived in 2015, the 10 properties, 201 North Colorado was empty, foreclosed, and uninhabitable. 205 North Colorado, empty and uninhabitable. 205B North Colorado, empty. 120 West Washington, empty, not to code. 118 West Washington, empty. 112A West Washington, empty, uninhabitable. 112B West Washington, lived in with a hot plate and a microwave. 105 West Washington, corded full of junk, no power or water since 2008, with the back falling off. 109 West Washington, Lakeland or paper, been told vacate due to structural issues. 111 West Washington, empty and have been since 2008. Does that sound about right, Billy?
To be fair, most of that happened well before I was
Before
here.
you- okay.
I'm so sorry, that was me.
And he did say that at present, all of the above buildings have been restored to code and all leased out, with the exception of 105 West Washington.
I would like to inquire how Ms. Teal has that context and information and none of the rest of us do.
He filled out an application where he lists all of his contact information.
I just don't see it on my paperwork.
I'm sorry, Ken Scales, his
I don't see those 10 buildings that you just described.
No, if you had contacted him and asked him more about why he wants to serve, you know.
Contacted him by phone?
I contacted Mr. Cohen too.
Guys, let's get back to this.
I'm trying to do my due diligence
Yes,
here.
sir.
Why can you ask them?
Yes, sir.
Mike Frank Baker, owner of Baker Ferris Group in downtown Whitney, 112 West Washington. We've been there 3 years, give or take a month or two. We'd never be able to tell that building had problems walking into it. The renovation that I just heard about, shocks me because such a good job has been done on that building. Fuel efficient, everything could be wanted into a good rental property, and a good office and home space. So, if it's pushed out his ability, I would have to say beyond reproach.
Can I say something now?
Yes. Hold on a second. We have another lady that wanted to speak, if you want to speak.
And if we could have people come to the microphone.
Yes.
Since they're mentioning codes, I had somebody approach me this weekend on the American Dream building. Do you need a code to have an elevator?
So that's not on the agenda, so council can address that question, but staff can get back with you at some point.
Thank you, I'd like to listen.
The building has passcode, and it passcode under the guidance of the city of Whitney. The only other entity that might be interested in that is the insurance company, and they are aware of it. I hope that answers your question. I forgot what I was gonna ask. Is that your mic? Oh, I was gonna address Cheryl Taylor West.
Yes, ma'am?
If you want more information on those buildings, you can get the addresses. The, water bill comes to my address, but it has all of the information on the, units. You can go visit each one of my tenants if you want to know about the building and how we run our business.
I believe
And
I
what
did.
they think of us.
I believe I did visit Mr. Baker. Is
Yeah,
that correct,
but there's-
Mr.
On
Baker?
your campaign.
Yes, sir, I did, and it was a beautiful building, it certainly was. In
Well,
fact,
I've
I
given
remember
you an
commenting to
opportunity
you.
to visit with every one of them. There is nothing that I would not say that I'm very proud of my son-in-law. And we came to this city with the intent of saving that Mason building. And then, after a year and a half of us working personally and restoring that building with a little crew of people, in a year and a half, we got that building done. That building had every floor taken out of it. It was riddled with, termites. And, it took almost rebuilding the whole thing. It had to be completely rewired, it had to be restructured, it had to, plumbing had to be redone, everything had to be redone. In the progress of us finishing that building, the other buildings, people had come to us and asked us if we were interested in buying them. We had no intent of buying that many buildings, but we also figured that this was the city, and it was downtown, and it should have a better look to it. And that was our intent, was to save the downtown Whitney, which we have saved part of it. And that's all I have to say.
I do have a question, regarding appointments. Everybody that we're appointing basically serves at the pleasure of the council. Can they be, their appointments can be rescinded? They can be replaced?
So I know there's a provision in the ordinance about meeting attendance, 75% requirement, but I'm not sure if there's a removal process.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Yes. Find that cheat sheet here. I would like to move to appoint Ken Scales to Park Advisory Board, seat 3, for an initial term expiring October 31st, 2026.
Do we have a second? So, I'm sorry. Move on to any more?
I would like to ask Stefania and Warren, they both filled out a board and commission application. They are at the same address. We only have 3 more seats to fill. That's what I was hoping. I was gonna see if you guys could duke it out and let me know. I know, joking.
Good evening, council. As everybody here knows, my name is Stefania Shelby, and I did apply to be on the Parks Board. My application does not look like everybody else's application, because I'm pretty well known in Whitney. I have volunteered for the animal control, I volunteer at the park, I volunteer at city council, I volunteer at every festival that we have, I volunteer at the library. I have a very clean black background, but for some reason there is a witch hunt going on for me. But I'm not going to address that today. I'm a very fine citizen. I am very involved with the youth of this community. I am still at every ball game, every baseball game, every basketball game, every football game. I have an 11-year-old that plays. He doesn't play for Whitney anymore because he doesn't go to Whitney school. However, I am very involved with the youth. I'm very involved with all the buildings downtown. That is why I applied to be on the Parks Board, as Ms. Councilperson Teal alluded to. The mustard seed is going to be one of the very first buildings that we're going to have to fund money to. Anybody that knows me knows that I speak very highly for Ms. Wyatt's buildings. I have had numerous friends that have been tenants in those buildings. They are no longer tenants in those buildings. They have moved to other buildings. But I'm very proud of Whitney. I'm very proud of the buildings in Whitney. I want us to grow. I want the buildings to look good, as well as the park. That is my heart. The park, the city park is my heart. That's, the youth are they're the foundation of Whitney. We're all older. These youth are gonna be coming up. We need a park for them. We need good buildings for them. That is why I applied to be on the Parks Board. I have a background in Whitney, much as Ken Scales does, and much as Diane Wyatt does. Do I have the money to put into all those buildings? No. I sure have a voice to advise on what I think needs to happen to the park and what I think needs to happen to the buildings downtown. And as of the application date, Mr. Pelham and I have the same address. However, he resides outside of the city limits. On his application, he now does have 509 East Roosevelt. He also resides outside of the city limits, where his mother resides. But at the time, y'all didn't have it opened up to outside of the city limits.
I think in a previous city council meeting, I indicated that I would prefer someone that had already demonstrated an active presence in our community, especially, particularly where the youth are concerned. I know I've got 2 grandchildren that are extremely athletic, and I think probably almost everyone up here can say the same thing. I like to see people rewarded that have already shown dedication to our community.
So does anybody make a motion on anybody?
Make a motion for Stefania and Warren to be accepted for Park Board.
Vote together.
do one at a time. We need to do a motion on one at a time. Okay, we have a motion, from Valerie.
I'll second.
Okay, got a second?
Just for discussion reasons, motion and second discussion, this is for seat 3, expiring in 2026, is this correct? For,
Yeah, I think we're just working backwards up the list.
I just want to make sure it's on the record correctly, that this is a nomination, a motion for seat 3, which the term will expire in 2026.
So we've got a motion by Valerie Peacock and a second by, is it Cheryl Taylor Lennis?
Yes.
Okay. Amy?
Yes.
Vicky? Yes. Valerie?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
All yeses. Motion passes. So Tony Shelby will be at seat 3, expiring in 2026.
I would like to make a motion that we, add Jason Sneed, to seat number 2. He's had a lot, he's involved with the Fellowship Church, he does a lot of community service, things, and very knowledgeable with the youth of this community and has the heart for that.
I believe he's a parent of 5 children, and he's attended very many of our city council meetings, so I would certainly be in support of that.
Yeah,
Second it?
I'll second it. My only objection to it is when he filed was that he was already an elected official. I was gonna say, let's just be more of a volunteer, other thing, but he has since resigned from the school board, so, sure.
Second. Amy?
Okay, so Amy?
Yes?
Vicky?
Yes.
Valerie?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
And what seat number will that be?
2.
Seat number 2, expiring in 2027. Okay, motion, passes with all yeses.
One more.
Again, people that participate and show an interest by attending meetings is always a strong indication to me. So I'm going to return to Warren Pelham, since he is present at the meeting, and I believe he's participated in the last 2 or 3 meetings regarding this topic.
I really wanted to put Warren on here, but if we're gonna put addresses on just to try to get on, I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem.
He has since moved into my house. He was not living at, the Parks
So-
Board started a year ago. When we originally started this Parks Board was April of a year ago.
So that comes back to what I'm saying is if we're going to have people on the board, we have 2,100 residents, we have 9 people here. I would like to split it up, so we don't have 2 people in one household. That was my first thing, yeah. So I'd like to.
He's gonna be able to be.
I hope so. I hope everybody who filled out an application is still coming to the meetings, because,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
just real quick, point of order, real quick, there was a motion, I just wanna make sure that we did, that it died, is articulated, it died from lack of a second before, we kinda go into that. Sorry, I just wanna keep it clear.
Did anybody want to second that motion, or?
Second.
Second.
Amy?
No.
Vicky?
We can discuss this, right?
Yep.
Yes. Well,
Call for a vote now, so.
I can rescind my vote so we can stay in discussion, right?
Mayor, your call.
I'm okay with more discussion.
I hate saying it, but we did rush into it, so yes, I will let you do that.
Okay.
My only thing is, I know the heart there, and I feel like we already have you already on there. He's gonna come with you no matter what, so we have two for the price of one. No fees included, I'm just saying that. And then we can get another person, so therefore we have another voice. Does that make sense? I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll add to her deal. Everything that I've ever volunteered with, my wife supported me. She was right there with us, and the same with me. When she volunteered, I supported her. I understand what she's saying, and I can relate to it. I think I've visited on some of y'all about that. And it's not got nothing to do. I mean, I do know you since you were a kid. Yes, yes. Right. So, I mean, I kind of relate to that. I really do, guys.
You all are so sweet.
Now we're gonna call for vote.
Amy.
No.
Vicky.
Valerie.
I'm confused what we're voting on. Can we backtrack just a minute?
Vote on.
So, yeah.
Unless you want to withdraw the motion.
You're voting on Mr. Collins able to talk for it.
Okay. My turn?
No.
No. Cheryl? Well, yes.
Jason?
Much as I hate it, no.
4 no's, 1 yes. Motion does not pass.
Yeah, he'll be there.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So we have 1 seat left. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 applications left.
So I would like to make a motion for Sandy May to be on there. Reason being that she does have on her application that she was part of the HOA for, her city in Carrollton, and she lived there for 15 years. And she's worked on many, city ordinances and beautification programs. I don't know if y'all know where she lives, but she doesn't live far from me.
It's a
And
paradise.
her backyard is like amazing.
If you want to go for tranquility,
This is nice. This is very
yoga.
No, I know who does it, yes. Yeah. Anyway, I think that she would be a good.
Let everybody know I do most of them in this town.
Make a motion, sorry, did I not say that? I make a motion that Sandy May take position 1, to October 31st, 2026.
I'll second.
Then second, Amy Till.
Amy?
Yes?
Vicky? Yes. Valerie?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
All yes.
All right, we're gonna move to agenda item number 13. Deliberate and act on the creation of a city utility board.
Council, you asked for more input on utilities boards and like where, cities of this size could be. And, really, we didn't find a lot of information for utilities boards of municipalities of this size. What we did find were larger municipalities, and we're talking a lot larger. And to include in your packet, we found, I think, San Marcos, in there, but most of the municipalities who have this capacity are huge water systems. So, again, that's kind of what you asked me to look into.
Yep.
So I could not find really anything comparable to Whitney to research. And that's why we included San Marcos, just to kind of look at what they had. But you're looking at San Antonio, huge water systems. So I couldn't really give you anything to look at. That's why you have San Marcos.
explain that again?
If, would you mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a major problem with your water system. It's major. And I think a board would be a good starting point. We have things in the works now with Billy and Chris and everything, but there is a major problem. And I think the board, it's just an advisory board. I think it's important.
And I'm sorry, would you repeat your name again? I'm so sorry.
Jana Strange. I'm your neighbor.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It's kind of late.
So Jana, you're basically seeing this as just a board to talk about and research the city's water issues.
It's kind of like a middleman. If there's an issue, you can go to this board and tell them about it. The city's very busy. So there's a major issue.
But do you also see it as, somebody, as board to advise us on the water treatment too, or just?
We were
water
thinking,
bills?
like me and David were talking about, you know, TN and P. You could combine several things in a utility sewer.
One second. You got one of these? I've got all kind of bits.
So this says the board, on this particular example, it's another 5 voting members. So if I am hearing y'all correctly, you and David would be interested in serving on this board? You think you could wrangle 3 more people if we open this up? Because we're getting ready to open up a library board too. And I know we had 9 people sign up for the parks, and I already know a couple of those are gonna be good on going on the library board too. So I know that there is some concern about filling a bunch of different boards, but they do all have their own flavor. But in the people you talk to, this is a 5-member board, you think you can fill this board? You think there's enough interest in the board?
And they have, one of them has electrical experience, one has retired from the water department. So people that, I want it to be people that have contract expertise, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been battling with D&D pretty much on my own since 2024. And you know, I'm a private citizen who was impacted by this, but ultimately, the city property, the city is the one taking the brunt out of the projects that they've got going on. And unfortunately, a lot of these projects weren't communicated to the city. The city didn't know why these had started until, after the big escalation and stuff. So by having a board that's upfront and that can work with the city and resolve some of these issues, it takes a lot of the work off of Billy and Chris and other folks that are having to deal with these guys. And there's contract issues, there's easement issues, there's a whole number of issues that I honestly believe, and most of the attorneys I'm talking to say that there's infringement issues in these impact. But like I said, without a board, with the limited staff and limited people that you have, you're gonna continually get run over by other situations, so that's my input on that.
Is there a question? Any questions?
I make a motion that we act on creating a city utility board. Advisory board. City.
Citizens Utility Advisory Board.
Absolutely.
And the thing though is we don't actually have an ordinance for Whitney in front of us. So we would still have to come back and vote on that, correct?
I think if you're looking to give us general direction about drafting an ordinance, we could bring that back for a future.
This
clear, when this was first approached from the citizens agenda item, it kind of was oriented towards water. And now we've expanded this into utilities as a whole, and that's gonna take more research. And in order for us to get something put together, just throwing that out there as a caveat is, you know, this initially started as we have a major water problem, and now we're talking about expanding it to other utility entities that we necessarily, as a city, don't have control over. Meaning that we don't own it. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that we don't have control, but you see what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So I think there's gonna have to be more research done on this, if I'm being honest about this, to figure out what that looks like.
I'm okay with that. I mean, especially since it is just an advisory board. So.
So I think if council's motion or intent here is to proceed with the creation of a utilities board, that we would ask for your direction and guidance to establish a potential ordinance to encompass water, wastewater, and utilities as a whole.
So, on this one that is in front of us from San Marcos, the board is empowered to review the financial performance and resources of the city's electric, water, and wastewater utility systems for purposes of providing advice to the council concerning the business aspects of such financial performance and resources, including rate levels and fees, and to report by official vote their recommendations to the council.
Councilor Original, I may be mistaken, but I believe San Marcos owns its own, electric utility.
Yeah, I know, I was just reading it already.
Yeah, I just wanted to, so it looks like they're having an advisory board over only the utilities they own.
Right.
And just to be clear, the only utility that the city of Whitney owns is the water and wastewater system. We do not own gas, we do not own telephone, we do not own internet, we do not own electricity.
Well, and it could be, it could absolutely be reworded to address water, wastewater, or utilities that we are contracted with, that the city has a contract. This is one of the things I've noticed, that we have a lot of contracts that are very outdated or are not being enforced, and having some more eyes and brains involved in that process, I think can help a lot.
I think I like all the help we can get.
That's where
I really do, but at this time, I'm following Billy, but I mean, you know, I'm not saying I'm against it or anything, you just heard me say, I want all the help we can get. But I think we need more time to prepare ourselves to bring it back.
So we need to get more guidance
Yes,
on
there
the
you go.
structure of it.
And it's not shooting you down or anything, by all means. Me and David's did many a time about different stuff. And I appreciate all the help we can get.
And if you guys wanna wordsmith, like the where your focuses would be. shoot that.
I'm water. That's all I do. So,
I mean, looks like I'm gonna be dealing with these guys for years to come. So, and like I said, really, you know, I've got a pretty good working relationship, or have had, but there's some other caveats to that. I'm in the process of buying more city property north of town, and it's kind of split between TNMP and Wilco, so trying to figure out and maneuver around that. I mean, and what those contracts are, and it's just, I'm not a contract attorney, although I'm very familiar with contracts. I'm also aware of the contract with TNMP and what the impact is and how the city's being manipulated by that contract. So, as an advisor, whether you listen to me as a council or not, that's fine, but as an advisor, there are other cities, Whitney size or smaller, that I have property in that also are dealing with similar things and how they're handling them. And having those resources available to them, I think would be beneficial.
So you think this should be a board that is advising and reviewing different types of utilities?
I think it's utilities as a whole. I mean, even though the city doesn't own it, you still have contract and deliverables from each of these contracts that, in my personal opinion, are not being delivered on.
In my experience, usually it's a plumbing board or an electric board, and there are people that are on that board have, working not subject matter expert, as you said earlier, of that particular, as opposed to just the community in general. However, I do want to mention to Ms. Strange, if you haven't heard me say this before, I'm passionate about water and sewer. I spent 13 years in water utilities, and it is something we can't ignore. It is our future. So we want to support you whether we push through tonight or we don't.
I got a question for everybody. My idea on it is, can we take, like I said, I support it, but can we table it tonight and bring it back? With more information, how we can design it and everything together to go for it.
Yeah,
As
give
of
some
tonight.
direction.
Yes.
We wanna create something that gives
Correct.
some direction.
And not a sloppy job.
Right, no, I mean, cause if you rush into something, then, well, we should've done it another way. I don't wanna be like that too. So I'd love to table this tonight and bring it back if that's all right with everybody else.
I'm good with that, really can bring us a real ordinance.
Okay, done, right?
I'll be shooting you an email.
All right, we're gonna move on, guys.
One last thing that I don't think we did on the parks, just to backtrack a second, can we read aloud for the record the entire parks board that was appointed? All people?
Read
We
out
voted
loud.
the full board.
Yeah, Christie.
So in seat 5, there's Kevin Threadgill, expired 2026. Rigoberto Ferris, seat number 4, expired 2027. Stefania Shelby, seat number 3, expired 2026. Jason Sneed, seat number 2, expired 2027. And Sandy May, seat 1, expired 2026.
Okay, we're gonna move on to agenda item number 14, deliberate and act on a request to abandon the alley of 405 South Colorado to allow the owner to sell the property. You'd like? I think Billy has something to.
Thank you for waiting this whole time, Ms. Baker. I do appreciate it, and I'm so sorry that we're just not getting to you. As requested at the last meeting, they did provide the survey to show the alleyways. In your packet, I also provided an aerial view. In the packet though, the survey was cut off, so in your supplemental that I gave you today, the paperclip, there's the full survey, so you can see where all the deeds and deed restrictions are. They're allocated in the front of the property through TxDOT, so that's where that's at. The alley is still in the back, but I'm sorry, Ms. Baker. You go ahead. You go ahead. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
I also brought a copy that was emailed to y'all. Like I said, I'm just trying to sell the house, and I can as long as this alley is still on the books as an alley. It has not been accessible since I know, since 2016, when I moved into the house. And I did not even know that this was in the alley until they did the survey and I was trying to sell it.
So just to remind the council that we do have a gravity feed sewer line in the alleyway. There was discussion last time about potentially having to reroute the line, what that would entail. And again, I just shot a dart at the wall and said, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that, because we're not talking about just moving one home, we're moving the entire line and everybody that's attached to that line. So This is a very difficult situation. I was asked to research if I could try to figure out when the addition was made to that residence, and I have been unable to determine that. You can see, if you look at the aerial photo, that where the original residence was built, and then it has been added onto.
I want to say that it used to be the garage.
So, it does, I can't give you an answer as to when it was done. That's, again, BP, long before me. It's a difficult situation. We discussed last time that typically, when things like this happen in larger municipalities, they can destroy that part of the structure, to take it out of there. So that's gonna be how the council is gonna have to figure out how they wanna handle the situation, and we're gonna have to lean heavily on what's right, what's fair, and what's legal, here. So, I would defer to the council and counselor to give advice on this.
I do have a question. Inspector, when you bought the property, did you get a,
I
survey?
bought it, owner financed, so no, I did not get a survey.
So my point for this going forward is, it is very important to get those kinds of things and to make sure that permits were given for additions. So at that point, had you have gotten a survey, it probably would have put might not have been able to get a title and insurance on it because of the fact that it is within an alleyway and it's
The house was built in 1945.
Yes, I looked it up, believe me, I've got tons of notes, so I was like, oh, it's,
Personally, I wasn't planning on selling it.
right.
But I got married about 3 years ago, and we had recently bought another property. So we're not even using it, it's just sitting there.
I mean, the only thing that I could come up with that had been possibly done before, and I was gonna defer to Jennifer and see if there's anything that can be done, is a variance in regards to having access to all that part, but I don't even know if that is something that could be done, and then like a fee paid for that. The only other alternative I could see would be it's almost.
Yeah,
It's significant.
a variance would be appropriate. As you're aware, a variance is about permission ahead of time because your property's unusual or different, and that's not the situation. And so, this is a very unfortunate situation. As Billy mentioned, many cities require this addition to be removed, because it's over a very expensive, sewer line, and you would not want the situation of the city liability of repairing that sewer line underneath a portion of the house. And that's why you don't allow structures to be built over those kind of lines.
Right.
And so, I've seen cities force the removal of additions. I've seen in situations that are less expensive than this, owners paying for the rerouting of sewer line. And so, I'm not sure there's an easy solution to this case.
Yeah. I mean, everything that I looked at from what I've researched I've done is that unfortunately, we cannot abandon this property. I mean, I just don't see how we can, as a city, financially abandon the property. Because it could technically cost us lots and lots of money.
Counselor, just for the kind of record here, let's, hypothetical situation, I love those, but if there were a problem with said sewer line, and we had to access it with that building on top of it, where's the city's liability there?
Yeah, so, as I mentioned earlier, part of the reason why, when you get easements for sewer and water lines, you prohibit any building over those lines, is the liability for, even having a line underneath the house could cause some subsidence and those kinds of things, but then the repair issues perhaps could cause some liability issues. That's why you have easements, that's why you put, sewer lines in roads and streets and alleys where there are not gonna be buildings built over them.
be is having to decide with where that property line stops.
Chain link fence runs into the alley, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 houses that are actually walking that alley as well.
And if they try to sell their house, they're gonna run into the same problem.
We actually did run into this issue when the 2 brand new homes next to Miss Baker's were being, built. We had to get back there and tear those fences down to access that line. So,
But you didn't have buildings there.
no, that's
right.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at everything that I could do, just because I feel for you, you know, because you bought the property without knowing that, and unfortunately, but, as I said, I was looking at a variance, and that's why I deferred to Jennifer on that, because I wasn't even sure if that would be something that would be feasible, but, I don't see.
So you're basically in a situation where if the city does not abandon the alley, you cannot sell the house. You'd be basically stuck owning it, and the most you can really do is rent it out.
Does the city use our alley?
No, it hasn't been accessible.
The city doesn't use the alley, it's the fact that there is a major sewer line underneath the building. Underneath the building.
So there is an option for the homeowner to remove the portion that's over the alley.
Yes.
Ms. Baker, I just wanted to ask, just some of the conversations I've heard inside City Hall, I think people who are trying to buy that property have expressed that they might want to remove that portion if so required. If that's an option, it sounds like that's kind of what's gonna have to happen. And they've kind of verbalized in City Hall that they understand that, and having done work in larger cities, that they knew that might be a possibility. So that might be a conversation to have. And I'm so sorry that that's the only guidance I can give you. But having been witness to that conversation, it sounds like they were already tracking that this was a possibility.
Sorry.
Please get your surveys before you buy property, people. Facebook.
And permits. I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
8:36.
Excuse me. This is all.